Will the Washington Wizards surprise anybody this year? Welcome in or welcome back. Super excited today. We have another guest, and this guest should not need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. Over 500 subscribers on YouTube, reaching almost 575, over 215,000 views on the same platform. Getting ready to take over the world with the release of 2K26. Your favorite internet GM and mine. Welcome to the channel, Cloud2K.
Thank you. That was, wow, I can feel my head getting bigger the more you talk about it. I've never been introduced before, so that was nice to hear. I like that. Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here and hopping on. Anytime that I can give people flowers, I'm here to do so. So if you ever need to pick me up, just give me a ring.
All right, good to know. I might make a payroll for you there if you can. Just everyday life, just kind of keep me going.
Yeah. Like I said, really excited to have you on here today. Of course, we are talking about the Washington Wizards. But before we jump into the season preview and what you could lie ahead, I want to give everybody kind of like a baseline into who you are as a fan. So let's get to know Cloud2K, the Wizards fan. And the first question that I have to ask everybody is, what made you a Wizards fan?
Oh, man. Honestly, I grew up in not in DC, but in the Maryland area, central Maryland area. So my kind of options were between the Wizards or the 76ers. And listen, we're F Philly, everything around here. I'm sorry to say it, but I do not mess with the city of Philly, any of their sports teams. So it was pretty easy to be a Wizards fan. And I remember very early on, some of the first highlights I ever watched was Gilbert Arenas. Obviously the whole story came out with the locker room stuff. So it got me super interested in kind of what was going on down there in DC. And honestly, I went to a school field trip to the National Zoo down there in DC, and there was a bunch of people wearing Wizards jerseys. So I was I don't know, it was just kind of a thing where just naturally being around the area, maybe a Wizards fan.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll spoil it now. I don't have any Philadelphia 76ers guest for the season preview, so it's also fuck Philly over here.
Oh, thank God. Okay. We can't. Oh man, that could be a whole 20-minute episode, but I'm not going to dive into that anymore.
Honestly, and I'll spoil this a little bit here too. I haven't done the outline yet, haven't recorded. I would have to imagine that because the 76ers didn't really do anything other than getting VJ Edgecombe in the draft, that's probably going to be a 7-minute video tops.
Dude, and they're already saying Joel Embiid's not healthy again. It's just that article came out about Embiid, was that a couple months ago? And it made me kind of root for him a little bit more, but still, yeah, it's so done for them, man.
Yeah, we'll probably just skate on by that one when the time comes.
I'm
not necessarily looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of fans and a lot of fandoms, there is a nexus point. There's a specific time where you can think about becoming a fan, or maybe something that a moment that you think about a lot within your fandom. Do you have a moment like that?
Growing up, I probably didn't really start watching basketball heavy until I remember the first offseason I ever had as an NBA fan was the decision where LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami. So that was my introduction to the NBA. And I just remember the early, obviously that's around John Wall's rookie season. And so that was kind of my introduction to basketball, was watching this guy just quick as ever, just run past everybody on the court, him and Derrick Rose and young Russell Westbrook, guys that were just sprinting by everybody else. And that's what got me into I love athletic point guards. They're just my favorite archetype of player. But it really was watching John Wall run past people and do a little spin layup and stuff like that. Just, I don't know, it just absolutely intrigued me. Probably that. Just watching him do in mid-air acrobats, watching the bald Gortat get spoon-fed the ball all the time. That was peak basketball to me at that time.
Is it fair to say then that John Wall is your favorite Wizards player of all time?
Yeah, because I think again, a lot of people are going to look at a Gilbert Arenas or even back in the 90s or back into the Bullets days, but I just wasn't around for that. And I for me personally, I have a really hard time picking my favorite player being somebody I never really watched play. It feels a little disingenuous to me. That's why we're Team LeBron GOAT over here, because I never watched Jordan play. You know what I mean? It's just I like watching people. So it really was John Wall, Bradley Beal, even a young Kelly Oubre, that kind of player was just my favorite type of player growing up.
John Wall is undeniably one of the most electric guards to ever step foot into the NBA. But I think that we should all remember that he lost to Joe Mazzulla in the NCAA tournament. I'd like to throw out that piece of information every time I can.
Listen. That's okay. You know, Joe, I'm such a big fan of Joe Mazzulla. Like, one of my best friends, Levi, is a huge Celtics fan. And so, like, all the time, but he's like one of those, like, I think he tries so hard to not be one of those, like, super optimistic Celtics fans that he, like, sometimes will come off the opposite direction. He's like, man, I don't really know if they have I don't think they have what it takes to win this year. I'm like, you have the best wing duo in the league. Like, just relax, man. Like, just accept it and move on from it.
Yeah, I understand that 100%. I think that it's more of a self-preservation or like a mental health thing, because especially over the last couple of years where we really had an opportunity to win something, I just thought, you know what, we're going to win like 20 games this year. And then when we won 21 games, like, hey, pretty good season.
Yeah. And I'm excited to watch him play like this year. Obviously, no Tatum, no Porzingis, no Al Horford. Like, it's going to be no Drew Holiday. We're going to see a lot of Anthony Simons basketball, and I'm really excited for, honestly.
I think that Anthony Simons is perfect for Missoula ball. I think that he'll fit into that system really well. Outside of that and Jaylen Brown, it is going to be ugly hoops this year. I'm going to have, I will have spent more time with my family this year than I have in the last 15 years. Like, it's, I'm going to get to halftime. We'll be down by 20 and go, yeah, that's enough for me. I'm good.
Hey, no, Luke Cornett too. I can't believe I forgot Luke Cornett's going now too. That's probably the biggest loss, honestly, out of everybody there.
At least for our locker room presence, but I'm happy for
his style of defense by just jumping up and blocking the rim. You can't see the rim.
I am happy for the baseline bums that did acquire him in the offseason. So I can't be super upset. At least that he didn't go to like the Jazz or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that we're looking into the season and what could be held in store for the Wizards, I think a pretty common theme that you'll see throughout this year is that they are young and hungry. But I kind of want to ask you, do you think that they'll be able to build on what they did last year? Obviously, they had a decent draft. We'll get to that in a little bit. But they had so many promising players last year. Do you think that will carry over into this year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I feel like the Wizards are like, and it's going to sound a little crazy, but just bear with me here. I feel like the Wizards are in like one of the better spots in the NBA. And obviously that sounds crazy because they're not like the Thunder or like teams like that are like going to win now. But I say that is like the only way the Wizards have a bad year next year is if they lose key players to injury. Like, they could win. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal, but they could win another 15 games, get a high lottery pick, and like just see the development. Like, as long as your young guys are on the court and you can see they mesh well, there's not really much that can go wrong with the Wizards. So like, they could surprise people and end up in the play-in because the Eastern Conference is going to be a little bit weaker this year. So like, I feel like it's like, hey, as long as you're healthy, the Wizards are kind of in a no-lose situation this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's something really special about being a team that has no expectations that you could surprise people. It's only when you start to win a bunch of games that you start to feel like the responsibility on your shoulders. So the fact that they're going to sit there and win potentially 35 games next year, be close to a play-in spot, I think it's going to be really good for all of the development for those young guys. When talking about those young guys from last year, who do you think could make the biggest leap year over year?
I know probably the easy or like the most generic answer would be like a guy like Alex Sarr. But honestly, like, the way I look at Alex Sarr is and I don't think a lot of people do anyway, like, you don't view him as like your cornerstone franchise setting player. I think he's just going to be one of those like consistent, good centers. Like, I don't look for big leaps. I don't see an all-star in his future or anything like that. Honestly, one of the guys, excluding like the incoming rookies this year, that I'm really looking forward to is a Kaishan George. I think he could have a phenomenal season this year. I know we don't really have a ton of playmaking. Like, you have CJ McCollum, you just brought in stuff like that. But I think a guy that can like really create his own shot and being like was he like 6'7", like 6'7", I don't know. He's a little bit on the taller side. Like, I think he's a guy. Yeah, I said that and realized what I just said there. That's me feeding into my Gen Z memes there. But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's a guy that like has some of the widest versatility on the Wizards, where you can kind of fit him. He played the 4 last year. He played the 3. He can play the 2. Like, he's a guy that you can kind of fit into a lot of different lineups with guys that can't shoot, guys that can't shoot. And like, I think he's a guy that like isn't quite the household name they're looking at going into next year, but I think could have a huge, huge impact.
That's a good lock. I personally have a huge leap for Bilal this year, Bilal Coulibaly. I think that he could really like interject himself, maybe not into Defensive Player of the Year conversations, but like a lock for the all defensive teams. I think he's getting ready to take that kind of leap.
Yeah, we just got to keep him away from them books that he's be reading sometimes. Like, I don't know what he's doing over there. We're not going to talk about that. That's not a Bilal.
Yeah, we're
yeah,
talking strictly on the court here, not that.
yeah, but no, I do like Bilal Coulibaly. I've always had this weird thing with Bilal where it's like you'd almost think he would be a more like I don't know how to word it, but like I think you would see his impact so much more if he was on a winning team. Like he's one of those guys that kind of fills in a lot of different areas, like a not to the same level, but like on a Herb Jones type of archetype, a Lou Dort type of archetype, where it's like you get them on teams that are like winning games. I think a lot of people's opinion on Bilal Coulibaly would just be so much different.
Yeah, to your point, if you added him to the Cavs, if you replaced him with DeAndre Hunter, he'd be in defensive player of the year talks. Like that's
100%.
the level of guy that we're talking about. Looking at the roster for the year, let's talk foundations, right? Teams build through the draft, and when you are, no offense, historically bad over the last 5 years or so, it's really important to hit on key draft picks. So for the draft this year, just a little recap. At number 6, we picked up Trey Johnson. 18, Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. Number 21, Will Riley. And number 43, Jameer Watkins. I think that some people could look at this team and go, too many cooks in the kitchen, because there are so many young pieces and the older vets that you're now trying to incorporate to mold the future talent. With so many pieces on the roster, do you think the drafting 4 rookies will complicate things in any way? And if so, what complications will it bring?
The blueprint is there. You saw the OKC Thunder do it, and like they're kind of an outlier in that kind of thing. You can't use them as like a full-time blueprint because it usually doesn't work out that well. But I think they're in a space right now where it's like nobody really is super set in stone. Like you like Bilal, you obviously like you like Kaishan George, you like Bob Carrington, you like a lot of these guys, but nobody's there right now that it's like he is going to be a starting piece or a good piece in like when this team is competing in however many years. So I kind of like the idea of like you're kind of throwing darts at the dartboard right now. It's like, hey, like something's gonna hit. Obviously, I feel very strongly about Trey Johnson and that kind of archetype, but like I just look at this team and it's like I really, and again, I know we'll get into it here later, but like with the addition of CJ McCollum, it's probably going to run the one most of the year. Having like a veteran point guard to set up Trey Johnson, Bilal, Kaishan George, Will Riley, like I think it's just like this is the year where it's like who you can find out who fits with a good veteran point guard, and I think that's going to be super important going forward.
As respectfully as possible to these young superstar athletes, I'm not fully sold on Will Riley personally or Jameer Watkins. I think they're going to spend a lot of time in the G League affiliate team.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I do think, however, that Trey Johnson and Walter Clayton Jr. both have spots on this team for different reasons. Kind of, Trey Johnson is very much the score first kind of point guard, and Walter Clayton Jr. is more of a facilitator. So I think that they could feed off of each other well. Maybe even some scenarios where they're playing in the backcourt together, but being able to pair those 2 young guards with the Bub Carringtons and then having the grandfather of who we'll talk about later, CJ McCollum, come in and kind of just mold the youth. I think everyone involved right now is in a super fortunate situation.
Yeah. And honestly, I really am like looking forward to like Walter Clayton's 3-point shooting. Like it was like what, 37, 38%, I think last year. And it was like on 7, 8 threes a game. Like it was on a pretty decently high volume. And like that's something that the Wizards, and I don't have the stat off my top of my head, so if I misspeak on this, sorry. But like you look at the Wizards, they weren't a great 3-point shooting team. Like a lot of it came from a Jordan Poole type of player last year. They don't have a lot of guys that they're just kind of having stand there and shoot, like be able to catch and shoot. So I think again, like you said, Walter Clayton has the playmaking and chops that he can maybe not full time, but like sometimes run some actions as the ball handler. But it's also a guy that like you can kind of trust. If you're running an action, he can be over there in the corner, or he can be on the wing that like you can trust and knock down a shot, which is like something I feel like Jordan Poole didn't really have the luxury of being the point guard of this team.
We'll get to Jordan Poole too. I have some thoughts about Jordan Poole.
Yeah,
but we've danced around it a little bit. Let's talk about some of the additions that you brought in. We of course have to talk about the grandfather of CJ McCollum, and then a sneaky pickup later in the offseason in Cam Whitmore. The Wizards are clearly favoring the young, but they're trying to bring in vets like Chris Middleton and CJ. And, there was Marcus Smart for a little bit before the departure to mold the future. What skills are you hoping that Chris and CJ pass on to the next generation?
Honestly, they brought in probably 2 of the most like, I don't want to say is professional the right word to use, but like you look at CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton, like guys that just like, they knew how to get it done not being the main guy. They were to get in where they fit in with either Damian Lillard or Giannis Antetokounmpo, like, or even like CJ McCollum in New Orleans with like Zion. Obviously, that didn't work out nearly as well, but like a guy that's like able to kind of fit with other pieces, or both of them, guys that like are able to fit with your star. They're not guys that need the ball in their hands all the time to be effective. They're effective off ball. And I think that's something, again, like going back to like the so many cooks in the kitchen thing. It's like, we gotta learn like who can play on ball and who can play off ball. And I think like that's going to be super, super important of like, hey, maybe Kaishan George is a guy that like, you're not going to have the ball in your hands very often. You can learn from Chris Middleton how to get open off of screens, how to get open into mid range, like stuff like that. Or CJ McCollum could, again, guys like Bub Carrington still like teach, not always say teach him, but like work with them, like running the pick and roll, running the actions, also being able to work off ball because I like Bub Carrington. I'm not like on the train of like he's going to be the full-time starting point guard of the future. Like I don't see that personally. So I think CJ McCollum is more of an archetype I can see from a Bub Carrington versus like I don't know, like a Tyrese Halliburton or like something like that. You know what I mean? Like I see him being more that like off guard that can handle the ball.
I, of course, really respect CJ as a person, and even though he didn't have a favorable time as the NBA Players Association president, I think that he's a great media. I don't want to say icon; that seems way out of pocket, but just a great media person. And I think that Chris Middleton, I have a love-hate relationship with him because he's a Celtics killer. Yeah. I mean, every time that I've ever watched the Bucks play the Celtics, Chris is going off 40 on like hyper efficiency, and I just can't fucking stand him. But hopefully now we don't have to deal with it as much because they're going to be on I don't want to say bad team, an improving team.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say they're not going to be good, and that's what I'm saying. Like with both those guys, CJ and Chris, like they just get it done. Like I don't know how else to word it, but like they're just guys that like no matter where they are, they're just going to do what they need to do, and I think that's a skill that not a lot of players in the NBA have today. It's like I either have the ball and I'm doing what I have a high usage rate, or if I don't have the ball, I'm probably just standing there doing nothing. So I'm actually really, really, obviously I would like to have Marcus Smart on the team. I think that could help a lot too, but you got to take what you get, you know?
I don't know if there's a term for it, but the way that I internalize things, it's the surprisability for me. If they played tomorrow and I saw the box score where Chris Middleton has 25 and 4 on good efficiency, I'm not surprised by that. If CJ McCollum hits 7 threes, I'm not surprised by that. Now, if, say, Alex Sarr hits 7 threes tomorrow, I'll go, hey, that's something I didn't know he had. I think that non-surprise ability is really important when you're trying to develop young talent like this. Just being able to be a pro's pro and pass that on.
If Alex Sarr hits 7 threes, you're going to see a video of me jumping off my balcony because I don't know what the hell is going on right now. Like
the world is ending.
Let's get Alex Sarr to get some like 10 rebounds first before we're hitting 7 threes in the game. Right? We got priorities down here.
Now, of course, there was one more notable addition in Cam Whitmore. I really like Cam. I thought that he was obviously very much underutilized in Houston. I think that it's cool that he's a DMV kid heading back home. I am a little curious to see how much burn he could possibly get because there are so many pieces that need to be fed here. I do see a scenario where whether that's a scoring punch off the bench or he even plays alongside, like if you shift Bilal Coulibaly down to the 4, play super small, he could be the 3 and have nice lineups there. Do you expect anything from Cam Whitmore this year?
Honestly, like I really don't. Like I'm also a guy that's a fan of Cam Whitmore. I agree wholeheartedly that I think he just unfortunately found himself in a situation where I think Houston got a lot better, a lot quicker than they thought they would, and he just didn't really have time to, for him to develop in the way he wants to play. Unfortunately, like I think obviously the Wizards aren't going to have the same like getting a lot better, a lot quicker than we thought. At least I don't believe so. You know what I mean? We're the same way the Houston Rockets did, but he again is in a situation where it's like you have like 3 to 4 guys that like they want that they drafted that want to get minutes over you, and like. I still think, like I said, to throw in darts at the dartboard, that if he outplays some of these guys, he could earn minutes over them. But I just also would not be very surprised if at the end of the year, it's like, yeah, he averaged like 12, 13 minutes a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope the best for him, honestly, because even dating back all the way to his Villanova days, thought he was a highlight reel. Surprised that he fell as far as he did. I really want the best for Cam. I think it's a cool homecoming, but I think a lot of things are going to have to go right for him to get the production level that we want for him. Now, I debated putting this on here or not because I don't know whether it counts as an addition or a re-signing. Well, you all do have Marvin Bagley back. The last time that we saw him healthy was for the Wizards, and he was averaging 13 and 8 a night on about 60% from the field. I think that it's very lofty. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. But do you see something similar this year? And if not, do you see any hiccups for him that could come along the way?
He's going to get run. We don't. Our big man room is not exactly stacked. There's not a lot going on down there in our big man room. It's like
I can
it's
name
like
Alex Sarr. That's it.
Yeah, it's like Alex Sarr. Because Rashawn Holmes is gone now, isn't he? I'm pretty sure. So there's just not a lot going on down there
now.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like he's going to get run because we simply just don't have the bodies to run the 5 spot. I can't remember off the top of my head. Is Tristan Vucevic, however you pronounce his name, I think he might still be on the roster. I think he got an extension, or maybe I don't know. It's been such a dead off season, man. I don't even remember what's going on. It's just he's gonna bring some veteran. I guess along the same way of like a Chris Middleton, like a CJ McCollum. Do I see him making much of an impact? If that's what, no, I really don't. I think he's gonna have. And I don't like using this word. I don't like saying this, but I think he's going to kind of have some inflated stats because he's just going to get a lot of time on the court with our situation. But yeah, I'm not looking at Marvin Bagley as the savior of Wizards this year. That's for sure. Yeah, no, that's not no.
Well, maybe not with that attitude.
Hey, listen, you know what? If it works out, then maybe 2018 draft class might look a little different nowadays. But I have very, very low hopes for this situation.
In a redraft, it's SGA, Luka, Marvin Bagley, and then everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Where does Ayton fall in that? 11, 12 nowadays? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have Trill Buckets on the channel for the Lakers preview.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And I'm probably going to have to grill him for that one. I don't think that he's super high on the move, but boy, is DeAndre Ayton going to have to impress me for me to back off of that being a bad idea.
I'm like a fake, and I'm like a fake Lakers fan because I grew up watching Kobe. You know what I mean? So Kobe was one of the players I gravitated. So I watched the Lakers. So I keep my eye on, well, just like the rest of the NBA does. Keep your eye on the Lakers. See what's kind of going on there. And I hate the fit, but you know what? He is 100 times the player that they had last year with Jackson Hayes. So it can't be any worse. At least I don't think so. But it's the Lakers, so I guess it could be worse. I don't know.
The one positive for them about the DeAndre Ayton situation is that it's so little money because he got waived by the Blazers. So while I understand intellectually it's really low risk, low reward, but just the PR of having someone who has reportedly issues with authority and work ethic and all these kind of things, bringing them into a Lakers organization who, while they can say all they want, are preparing for the future. They have Luka in his prime right now, so you need to start making those pieces and preparing for life after LeBron. So, I mean, if this goes bad, it's just another Laker blunder that'll probably get swept under the rug because Luka's going to win MVP. It'll be super annoying watching that.
My question is, does LA get ice on their roads? Is that a thing in LA? I don't know. Because you have to worry about that with DeAndre Ayton, man. You never know if he's going to show up to work today. It's like me. Hey, if it's icy, I'm not going to work today. That's just what it is.
If I'm Rob Pelinka, I am building an apartment in the practice facility for him so he can avoid this kind of thing in the future.
Doing that kind of thing with DeAndre Ayton is insane. That's insane. Hey, but I guess I don't even know what their backup option is. So I guess it's is Trey Jameson maybe still on the team? I don't even know. It is DeAndre Ayton or nothing right now. So I guess, yeah.
Speaking of the Lakers, we've had a lot of fun talking about the new additions and the draft pieces. I do think we have to touch on the departures here. We have Rashawn Holmes, who we've talked about, has gone to Panathinaikos in the EuroLeague now. Jordan Poole, who is playing for the Pelicans now, and Marcus Smart, who went to the aforementioned Los Angeles Lakers. I think that it's pretty, again, clear that the Wizards are committing to this youth movement. And honestly, I kind of see that some of these moves are necessary evils. Jordan Poole, while he's still a young player, doesn't match the timelines anymore. He's not the young nucleus that you build around. Marcus Smart is obviously not that. I think it's important to kind of contextualize that when looking at this roster. Is there anything in particular that you will miss from the players that are not on the team anymore?
I mean, again, with Marcus Smart, there were still little of them. Again, he's going to bring the grit, but let's just be honest, Marcus Smart, unfortunately, has not been the player, the DPOY level player in probably, 3 seasons now. So, as much as, I'm a fan of Marcus Smart, I don't think we're going to miss much impact from him in a Wizards jersey. Rashawn Holmes, kind of the same way, he was always fine. That was one thing about Rashawn Holmes. He was fine. And I guess that's some consistency you're going to miss, but again, not really much. Jordan Poole, you know what? And you're right. He is in that weird spot where he's a younger player, but he's not like young. So he doesn't really fit the timeline. Cause he already got his contract extension, but he's not like good enough to be your 1A type of guy. The one thing I will say though about Jordan Poole was that like he gave a bit of watchability to a Wizards team that like for some parts of the last season really did not have much watchability. Like it got rough sometimes. And like we even went to a few games in person, like just seeing Jordan Poole on the court. Obviously, it's not the same level as like an all-star, superstar level player, but like he brings a level of like, hey, that guy won a championship with Curry. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool kind of, it's a little bit of a cool draw. I think that like gave maybe like 20 people a reason to watch the Wizards. Not many people, but get some people to watch the Wizards. You know what I mean? And I do think like they kind of lack that going into this year. Like there's no guy that you're looking at the Wizards. Like people are tuning in to watch him play basketball. And again, while Jordan Poole wasn't exactly drawing a lot of crowds, he was bringing something to Washington.
I think that especially for Jordan and Marcus, while you brought them in to do particular things, I think that the Wizards are in a pretty good spot to replace that. I think, and it's not the same level. I don't want to put those expectations on it, but I think that the scoring ability of Jordan Poole, you can see a lot of that in Bub Carrington. Mm-hmm. The defensive ability in Marcus Smart, obviously, with Bilal Coulibaly.
Yep.
So while I think that parts of their game will be missed, I don't think it would be missed as much if you didn't have those players on your team.
For sure, 100%. And again, that's a lot of projecting for like Bob Carrington. You're obviously hoping Trey Johnson takes a big step into like being like a premier scorer on the team. But yeah, I guess like basketball related with Jordan Poole wasn't a lot. Like he was one of our higher 3-point volume shooters. Like, you know what I mean? He had but it was more just kind of like a drawing factor. I think the Wizards are in a better place this year than even last year. But you know, you're always going to miss watching fun players play for your team. So I guess that's what it is.
On a personal note, maybe you have some just like attachment to them for your heartstrings. Is there a player that you're going to miss on the team just from a personal level?
Again, like if we're just talking about from last year, it would be Jordan Poole. Again, like I've been a fan of Jordan Poole, like back in the G League days, like then getting into the Warriors and, you know, winning a championship, like trying to figure out how to be like a high energy, like role player coming off the bench, a scorer coming off the bench versus then he was able to mold himself into a guy that was able to start between Curry and Clay, depending on like anybody was out. You know, he was able to step in and kind of fill a role. Then the thing happened with him and Draymond, and like, you know, I really am kind of a component of, maybe it's a little bit dramatic, but I kind of think Draymond Green ruined Jordan Poole's career in a slight sense of like, you kind of sent this guy to purgatory down to Washington because he couldn't control his emotions. It's like, hey, he's the one that lashed out, but I'm the one leaving kind of thing. It's like, okay, now he's in New Orleans, which arguably might be more hell than Washington. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, so I am kind of a guy that's like, I've been such a fan of Jordan Poole, and I feel like the more that like this stuff keeps happening to him, I like attach myself a little bit more because it's like, damn, this guy, again, not a perfect player, far from a perfect player actually, but like it's just there's so much that like, he's fighting through, like going from the G League to like, again, like it's like I just mentioned the whole step, like there's just a lot to root for with that guy.
Now that we've kind of overviewed the season for a general consensus as a bird's eye view, what are your realistic expectations for this year?
Oh god, we did win like, was it 19 games last year? I think it was like
bar was pretty
like
low.
Yeah, bars low. I do think this is, and this is maybe like best case scenario, but like I'm thinking like a 31 team this year. Like that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like you have veterans this year that are like really able to play. Because again, love Marcus Smart, but he wasn't really offering a lot on court for the Wizards. You got guys like CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton that like really can be a part of this team. You have some young rookies again that I'm super high on Trey Johnson, and I'm high on what spot minutes we can get from Walker Clayton Jr. this year. Again, I'm big on Bilal Coulibaly as well. Like I said, Kashan George. Like I feel a lot more confident about the surrounding pieces this year than I did last year. Obviously, barring trying to have the number one guy right now. Like I think this could be a team similar. Like you look at last year's Nets team, where it's like they kind of came out the gates really strong, and then they started trading some pieces away, and then you kind of fell back into like what they are now. But like I think this is a team that like they could come out the gate being like 9-6, and I wouldn't be super surprised, and then finish the year 30-52. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where they're going to get out to a hot start. Things are going to look good, and then it's like, oh, the rookie wall is going to hit, the sophomore wall is going to hit, and we'll kind of see a back down to earth type of thing.
I think as long as you are showing steady improvement year over year, mm-hmm. you're not in a bad spot. Yeah. I think it would be detrimental to you actually if you went 500, mm-hmm. because then you could very easily just slide back down, and it looks like a disappointment. So I think
Yep.
30 wins, maybe capping out at 35 is a really respectable goal to hit this year.
Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation like for years, like the Atlanta Hawks put themselves in, where obviously like they ended up making the conference finals. But then it's like they were never really, or even the Miami Heat, like never really that great of a team. They just kind of were able to catch lightning in a bottle. But now it's like, we did it, so we can do it again. It's like, not really. And I don't want them to fall into like that mediocre spot where like, I mean, for the past, 15 years, the Pacers were always like a playoff team, but never great up until last year. You know what I mean? So like, I think being in the middle is like the absolute worst place to be in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. And the success portion of it, I think, gets overlooked or taken for granted a lot. Think back to the Hawks making the Eastern Conference playoffs or the Eastern Conference Finals. We thought, oh wow, Trae Young's like taking like the ascension. Yep. He's taking his crown as the best point guard in the East right now, and then hasn't made it back since. Giannis goes to the NBA Finals, wins the championship. We think, wow, Bucks dynasty, hasn't made it back to it. And even the Nuggets, who their GM went out and said, oh, we're built for a dynasty, has not seen that same success since he said the thing.
Yeah.
So I think that steady wins are really important for a young team. And as long as you don't put the cart in front of the horse, you guys will be fine.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it's easy to do that with a little bit of success. But it looks like this past, 2 years of this new regime and the Wizards has made a lot of good moves. So I'm holding out hope that maybe things are looking up in Washington. But like you said, when you're one of those teams that like, it just every year seems like you're not good, there's a reason. There's a reason you're not good every year. So I have hope, but until it happens, you kind of just have to be a little bit pessimistic about it.
One last question before we get to arguably one of my favorite sections of these content creator videos.
No, right.
I don't think that this is likely, but I want you to fill in the blank. If the Wizards have an all-star this year, it is who?
Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have to say CJ McCollum. I'm gonna have to, and not that I really want to, but like, I just don't see any of the young guys coming out immediately and making that kind of impact, like all-star level. I guess you look at Tyrese Halliburton's not going to be there this year. I mean, because like neither is Tatum obviously, but like I don't see any of our wings making that kind of step to be like an all-star level player this year. So like, I don't know. Maybe you see CJ averaging like he could average 21 and 8 maybe, and they're like kind of fighting for a play, and then they're like, yeah, let's give the vet on a young team a shot. The real answer is like nobody. I don't see anybody making it. But if you're gonna make me pick one, you know what? No, screw everything I just said out the window. I'm going Trey Johnson. The rookie's gonna make it. He's gonna come out averaging 24. And that's it.
That's what I need. I need the delusion here.
Yeah. You know what? If I'm gonna go into my full Wizards bag here, I'm just gonna go Trey Johnson, and Alex Sarr is gonna be in a running. I can't even say that with a straight face. I guess we'll go Trey Johnson. That's my fun race. So I'll go Trey Johnson.
Honestly, that's respectable. I don't think that he'll be in the 20s scoring as rookies. So few rookies do, but I think he'll have like a respectable 16. I think that's pretty good.
Listen, I'm on a lot of hopium right now. I'm just hoping like the point. Somebody's got to score. Somebody's got to score, and the ball might be in his hands kind of often.
I think that is as good of a note as we could end on the actual season preview, and I want to transition now into what I'm calling a content corner. Every guest that I have on here, I kind of want to pick their brain. I want to figure out what their why is. Both of us are obviously aspiring content creators, but what's your why? What started you on this journey?
I started watching YouTube like back, I don't know, 2013, 2014. I really started like watching YouTube a lot. And I was watching like OGs like PewDiePie, obviously Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, like the big main guys, Vanoss. Like I was watching a lot of like not 2K content, not basketball content, just gaming, because like I was a gamer growing up. You know, that's what I loved. Obviously then of course Chris Move was like the guy doing it back then. Even like back before, like his Call of Duty content. Like I was watching his Call of Duty content too, and I'm like, oh, this guy does basketball too. Like sick. I'm because this is like around the same time I'm getting into basketball, so it was like a cool transition. And then I got into like, as I got a little bit older into my teenage years, I got into like Stacks Montana, like doing like park content, iPod King Carter, stuff like that. And then I eventually, I think it was like late 2016, early 2017, found who a lot of people consider the GOAT of like what I do, like the My NBA type of stuff, Kenny, KOT4Q. Like I found him, and I was like, I watched his style of videos, like doing like the Sporkle quizzes, the rebuilds, and I'm like, that seems like so much fun, because it's like, you can tell this guy knows basketball, like he loves basketball, but he can also play a video game about basketball and talk about how much he loves basketball, and like people watch him for it. It's like, that's crazy to me. Like because like you saw again a lot of the big YouTubers back then were guys playing video games and kind of talking over it. Not a lot were like basketball related, at least that I had found at that point in time. So he was like definitely, and I feel like a lot of people say like definitely a big inspiration for me. And it really just was like I love playing video games. I love watching basketball, and I'm kind of more of like I'm a pretty outgoing person. I think like I don't really have an issue with a lot like my face or like talking about things. So I was like, hey, if people want to hear what I talk about, like it just felt like the perfect marriage of everything. And I'm like, also I kind of just want to give my opinions on things because I mean we all watch like the sports centers and first takes, and you listen to them talk. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like I'm like I know more than you at like 14 years old, right? So like I'm like I just want to give my opinion on things, and that's kind of how it started. And like when I first started making content, it wasn't even like funny enough. After all that, it wasn't even basketball. It was like my friends and I were playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege at that point in time. Because this is like early Rainbow Six Siege. So I was like recording videos of like a couple games. We'd get our ass kicked, and I'd like put it together and like put montages up. And they were so bad. I ended up like deleting all of them because they were so bad. But yeah, I think it was like I made like 2 cracks at 2K YouTube. I did it for like 6 months, got no success. I kind of felt bad about it, gave up. And then like what was like a year and a half ago, I was like, you know what? I have my own place now. Like I have the ability to sit down and actually record. I want to take it seriously. And it's, in a year and a half, I gained 550 subscribers, like I said, to 200 some thousand views, which is crazy. That's crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things where it felt like the right time and everything just kind of came together.
You gave me such a blast from the past when you said Stacks Montana.
Yeah.
Him, King Sean, QJB, all those guys.
Yeah. Or even like, I don't know what's going on nowadays, but like Gento was huge into my career, like type of scene back before I think he went a little crazy, but like just so many like just they'd be streaming Park or they'd be playing my career games. Like, man, that had me so good back then in that days.
We talked about it a little bit with Kenny King of the fourth quarter, the guys over at Numbers on the Board. Are there content creators now that you watch that inspire you to make, I don't want to say better, but just like inspire your content?
I don't know if I would use the word inspire. I think like I have a pretty good idea of like who I am in my content. Cause like, it is the thing where it's like you get ideas from people, but you want to be yourself. You don't want to be somebody else. And I think that's a trap a lot of YouTubers like fall into when they're trying to like start. Is like, oh, I see the way Kenny's doing it, so I'm going to do exactly like he's doing it because it works for him. Realistically, no. Like most people watch these YouTubers for their personality and like who they are versus like what they're actually doing. So like you can follow some formulas, but you got to be yourself. You know what I mean? So I think at this point in time, the inspirations I take are like I watch like a lot of YouTubers that are like in similar areas of me of like subscriber count and like kind of content, because I'm always trying to keep up with like my peers. You know what I mean? Like I'm always trying to see like, oh, what are you doing? Like, yeah, one of your videos will pop up. I'll watch. I'll see what you're talking about. Like, I like to like I just like to hear opinions of other people just to kind of like I don't know. Like it's just again I don't want to use the word inspiration, but it's just like how am I doing? What am I doing that like. I watch one of your videos, and I see the way you talk about something or the way you set something up. And I'm like, oh, like I like the way you did that. Obviously, I'm not gonna do it the same way, but it's like maybe I could like help work on my intro this way. That kind of thing. I kind of like take bits and pieces from different YouTubers and kind of make it my own.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that Frankensteining, for a lack of a better term, is a great way to kind of find where your niche is, find where your feet are. Speaking of good advice, is that if someone came up to you, a young content creator who has 5 subscribers on YouTube or 5 followers on TikTok, whatever the case is that the piece of advice that you would give them above all else, or is there something else that you would give them?
Pretty much. It really just is like, just be yourself. Like you're going to find yourself so much happier, like just being yourself on the internet or your YouTube channel, your TikTok. Like don't build your brand by being fake or not being like who you are, because now that's something you have to then be for your entire career, unless you want to risk you're losing it because like people don't like who you actually are. Like I'm such a big component of like I'm just myself. Like every single video you watch, what I'm talking about, like I'm just being myself, and I've been trying really hard this past couple months on my content, like letting myself shine through more versus like strictly just we're talking about 2K, we're talking about basketball. I'm trying to let myself shine through, and I think that's such a big thing. Like people are so when they watch a YouTuber. It is not, I mean, they're going to look at your title, they're going to look at your thumbnail and be like, is that something I want to watch? They're going to click on your video, and you've got to be able to like get them in that first like 5 seconds. If they're going to watch that first 5 seconds, if they just don't like the way if you're like monotone, you're quiet, you're blah, 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 whatever, they're not going to be interested. They're not going to stay. You got to just truly be your authentic self. And I just think that's like the best. I mean, just in life in general. Like it doesn't have to be, YouTube related. Like just be who you are, man. People are gonna find you. There's so many other people out there like you that you don't realize, or into the same stuff you don't realize. So just be yourself.
I think that's obviously a great piece of advice. I think you branch out on that too. When you are in a space like this, when you were trying to be a content creator, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can pass on to someone is find content creators who are, for a lack of a better term, at your level, and try to collab, try to do what we're doing here. Because I mean, for me, I love having conversations, love podcasts, love interviews. So that's why I wanted to do something like this, just kind of pick the brains of other content creators. But if you're sitting there and you have 3 followers on Twitter and you're just replying to every tweet that Chris Move or Kenny or whoever has, and you're just hoping that one day they go, you know what, this guy seems pretty cool, I'm gonna follow him back. That's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Find people in your tribe. Find people that are close to you as far as like follower count or anything like that, and then just branch out. Be cool. Interact with their stuff. Ask them to hop on for an hour and talk about Wizards basketball. Just do those kind of things, and I think you'll find success that way.
100%. It really is a community. Like I feel, especially like I feel like sports communities on YouTube are especially that way, where it's like we're all coming together because of a love of whether it's basketball, whether it's football, baseball, whatever you're coming together because you all have a common thing you're into. So it's like, why would I not talk to other people about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it really, that is really good advice.
Really appreciate having you. Love the conversation. I think it's going to end up being a really good episode. Before we get you out of here, I want to get to my actual favorite part of the entire bit here. For those watching at home, I give all of my guests outlines so that way they can go over their thoughts and not misspeak or misquote or anything. At the end, I have 5 lightning round rapid fire questions that I keep to myself, mostly because I want to see people squirm. I have 5 questions for you.
All right.
You don't have to elaborate if you don't want to.
All right, I'm locked in.
The first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Because you are Cloud 2K, because of the release of 2K26, these are going to be 2K centric. So again, 5 questions. Are you ready?
Okay. All right. I guess I'm ready. Let's go.
Question number 1. Favorite Wizards player to use on 2K?
If I'm talking like old school, like past like probably 2K13 or what was that, 15, it was Marcin Gortat. That's a crazy answer, but the guy like literally rebounded everything. You could, as John Wall, whoever you had your point guard, you give him the ball in the post and you literally like couldn't stop it for some reason. He was one of those players that like wasn't a super high overall, but it just like they must have just did something right with his attributes because like he was unstoppable.
The streets won't give him credit, but Marcin Gortat was definitely a 2K cheat code. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you do these rebuilds on your channel. Favorite team to rebuild?
I'm gonna stay away from like obviously like the Thunder. Like I'm gonna stay away from like the really really good team because they're easy. Like I can get that done easy. Honestly, the Toronto Raptors. I really enjoy every time I do a Raptors rebuild because especially as of recently, they just have so many like intriguing pieces that like in my 2K like GM brain, I'm like they have a couple first round picks. They have Brandon Ingram. They have like they have guys that like have good contracts, have a lot of money contracts. It's like I feel like whenever I do a Raptors rebuild, I could like trade for anybody because I have good players. I have a lot of money. It's really fun every time.
Little negative now. Worst 2K you've ever played?
The generic would be 18, but I think also like I really, really dislike 2K22. I don't know what it was about it. Like I had a squad I run rec with. I hated my build. That didn't like the gameplay. My GM's been the same game mode for the past 24 years, it feels like. So like for some reason 2K22 is just always like such a sore spot for me.
Active NBA player who you think would be amazing at 2K?
I mean, doesn't Bronny stream it? So like, I feel like that'd be pretty good. Like I don't know, like who if he like really good on the sticks? I feel like God, who feels like a gamer? I don't even know who feels like a gamer in the NBA. That's such a weird question to me. Man, I might just go with Bronny. It's an easy answer, but he'd be streaming it, so I'm like, he's got to be someone good at it.
Because 2K is so fluid in its changes and its patches, and Ronnie's always on some bullshit, what's one change that you want to see in 2K gameplay?
I'm really excited because, like, I don't know when this is coming out, but like as of right now, like I pre-ordered. I didn't spend the $100 edition, so I haven't played 2K26 yet. I've actually been hearing a lot of like better things about this 2K so far compared to like releases of other games. Dude, they took out the RG apparently in shooting, so that's super cool. I play on like lock builds that like stretch lock builds. There's nothing that upsets me more when I have a 99 steal, legendary, interceptor, and I'm like smacking the ball out of bounds, or like I get a steal and the ball just rolls right back to the guy and he picks it right back up and runs past me because my guy's laying on the ground because for some reason my guy decided to dive for a ball right in front of his face. Like that. But then also like if we're going to talk about like what I do, like the my NBA, my eras kind of stuff, there's still no aprons in the game. There's still no buyout market. There's still no sign and trades. Like a lot of the stuff GMs use in real life to like work around the salary cap, you simply cannot do in 2K. And it really does restrict you on some of these older teams. Like when you rebuild the Lakers with LeBron, like it really does like restrict on what I can do and makes it kind of like sometimes my videos can get kind of repetitive because it's like there's a certain formula that works with 2K and you can't really stray from it.
Yeah, I think that's as good of a change that they could possibly have. That's honestly one of the things that turned me off about 2K. I love a good My GM series. I love being able to take a team and rattle off 10 championships in a row.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
But again, what you were talking about, those little minute things that are in our everyday vernacular as fans, we cannot execute on the game that we have spent so much money to play. It's infuriating.
Yeah. Every year, another. I mean, now it's up to $70. Like $70 just to get the game. God forbid you want to buy VC. Like it is ridiculous every year.
I want to keep this episode positive toward the end, so we're not going to rag on Ronnie too bad here.
Real quick, it's what's Flight say? F Ronnie, F Mike Wang, F2. I don't know, whatever Flight be saying. We on that.
I think this was a great episode. Really appreciate you stopping by again. Of course, all of the links for you are going to be in in my description. Rather, we have Twitter, we have YouTube, obviously we have TikTok. Where else can people find you?
Pretty much that's it. Like when it comes to my YouTube stuff, I keep my Instagram personal because it's just me. You know what I mean? It's not. But yeah, no. And again, now that 2K, I've been taking a little bit of a break from YouTube just to like 2K25 has been, it's so done, so cooked, and the off season was not what we were promised. So there hasn't really been a lot of 2K content flowing. So I'm super excited. By the time this comes out, 2K26 videos are going to be hitting 3-4 times a week. So you look on YouTube, I will be there probably rebuilding your favorite team, you know, unless you're a Lakers fan, then sorry, you got to wait a little bit. But yep, you can catch me. I'll be posting clips on TikTok. I just be talking on Twitter. Like I just be quote tweeting, not even basketball stuff at the time. I just see stuff and I want to quote tweet it. So you can catch me anywhere on those.
Well, it's certainly going to be the top link in the description. All right. That's going to do it for me. Appreciate you coming on again. Appreciate everybody watching. That's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for Cloud 2K. Be kind. Tell somebody you love them. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Barely scraping by. Trying to stop puffing. I'm trying to be one of the greats.